Miss Connie Warden would be the first one. In middle school, I struggled with studies a lot, and I remember her taking the extra time and working with me and just getting me to where I needed to go. And then when I started working here, she just welcomed me right in, showed me everything I needed to do. But then I can't not recognize Miss Tony Bowman, who was also my middle school teacher. And not only was she my middle school teacher, she was also my first middle school cheerleading coach and pushed me in for my love for cheerleading and helped me to be the cheerleading coach that I am today.
I would say Miss Donita or Kason Allen is my favorite teacher.
Miss Michelle Leonard essentially taught me how to be a teacher and how to be an effective teacher.
A teacher that impacted my life, I'm in 4th grade this year, and Miss Jerry has really helped me with math.
And my favorite teacher is Miss Michelle. She helped me through last year.
My senior English teacher, I think that she really impacted me, and she said that something that we learned that year would stay with us to the day we died. And she was right. The thing that we were studying that year stayed with me. It's still there. It made a dramatic point with me, the impact that teachers have.
Started my freshman year of high school. I thought I wanted to be a nurse, and then when I got to high school, I had a lot of teachers impact me and made me decide I want to be a teacher. I had Mr. Shepard, Miss Tinsley, Miss Allen, and Miss Anthax, and I had a lot of good teachers. And then my sophomore year, Miss Christy Brown came in, and she shook us up a little bit, and that really helped me. So thank you all for helping me.
I'm going to talk about 2 teachers that impacted my life. One of them was Miss Ann Moore. She was always there if I had a problem that I could talk to her. She was a very caring person and taught me a lot of morals. And the other teacher that I would like to talk about is Miss Helen Cantor. She was always not there just for me, but for all the students. She was a very caring person.
I had a very good English teacher in the 11th grade that was also my speech coach in 12th grade, and she taught me how to get up in front of a group of people without my knees knocking together and my teeth chattering all the time.
Mr. John Abbott, he has really showed me what school is about and has helped me with all my math.
My high school English teacher, Dr. Cook, he challenged us to think, to dig deeper into the content, and he helped us to make connections between what we were studying and life at the moment. And I liked that, and it impacted me. He made me challenge myself to go deeper, and I appreciated that.
The teacher that's impacted my life would probably be Mr. Mike Vajant. I had him in 8th grade science. He challenged us to do things that no other teacher would. He inspired me to want to become a teacher.
I was actually inspired in my 5th grade year by a teacher named Mr. Gossett. He was my history teacher, and he actually inspired me to actually take an interest in my classes.
I would say that the one that did the most for me would be my father, Coach Depp. He impacted me in the classroom and on the basketball court. He taught me to never give up on my schoolwork, and that it is the most important thing in my life to get me to go the places that I want to go. He motivated me and told me to never give up, and that would be the most important thing I'd learned throughout my career.
A teacher that has impacted my life a lot is definitely my mom, Miss Terry Collins. She's the STEM teacher here. She's a great teacher, and she's definitely made all of us comfortable from the time I'm a freshman to now.
A teacher that really impacted my life was my mom. She was my first teacher, and actually she's supposed to be my last when I go back to service learning, so that's going to be pretty cool. And
a teacher that has impacted my life a lot is definitely Sally Rogers. She would bring me food before games, and she just took care of me and took me in, so I really appreciate that.
A teacher that really impacted my life was Miss Sue Ellen from the elementary school. She really helped me through elementary school and helped me get my grades up and always provided for me, and I was really thankful for her.
The teacher that influenced me most throughout my school career would probably be Mr. Gossett, because he was always eager to help us learn and be more creative with the learning experience we had with him.
A teacher that influenced me was Mr. Weinberger, my history teacher in high school. He made history fun, he made it interesting, he brought it to life, and from that point I really knew I wanted to go into history and eventually into education.
So at Jerry Whitson Elementary School, it was definitely Mr. Terrell Malone, my 5th grade social studies teacher. He believed in me and gave me attention that I needed to work and strive to be better. And definitely my 6th grade English teacher, Miss Sue Thompson. She was like my mom. Like, people don't know this, I'm gonna get personal. I failed 6th grade. And she came to me and says, Kevin, you're not ready for junior high. Best thing ever happened to me. It was a wake-up call. And got to middle school, and definitely 2 teachers that were coaches, Coach Ron Chambers and Noel Cherry. High school, my high school baseball coach, David Little, he instilled in me hard work ethic. And he says, if you work hard, good things will happen. And
the person who's made a difference in my life at Jackson County High School would be Miss Christy Brown. She was here at this school as a principal for a while, and she always told me to be the best that you can be and always have a smile.
The person that's made the biggest impact on my life would be Andrea Thaxton. She always pushes me to be the best that I can be, and she always keeps a smile on my face. And she's a great person to work with, and I thank her every day for everything she's done for me.
Okay, so my favorite teacher is Miss Chelsea, Miss Jessica, and Miss Courtney. And the reason why, because they always teach me good stuff and they love me.
Miss Judy Bobby is the teacher that has impacted my life more than anything. When I was a teacher assistant, there were so many days that she told me, Miss Anita, you need to go to college. And because I would be a non-traditional student, I didn't think that was something that I could do. But after several years of encouragement, I took that step forward and started to college and became a teacher myself, my lifelong dream.
Miss Casey's a little silly, Miss Stacy's really smart. Miss Jessica is also smart and silly. Miss Faith was a fun one because we did fun activities. I don't like hurting people's feelings, and I like everybody, but for now I'm just gonna go for Miss Stacy.
My 3rd grade teacher, Mimi Kisro, she was just an awesome teacher. She was very strict, but she gave all of them a lot of love. She kind of picked up on when we needed something extra, and because she was such a good teacher and she did make that impression on me, I hope that I do her proud by trying to give that same thing back to my kids.
My favorite teacher is Mr. Alex, my 3rd grade teacher, because he helps me a lot with my math, and like when I don't understand something, he'll always help me.
So personally, my 1st grade teacher, Mr. Nick Crabtree, always knew my name, always knew my family's name. Definitely impacted my relationships with students moving on professionally.
Miss Anita's my favorite teacher because she's fun and I learn a lot from her.
Most influential teacher in high school was my physical science and chemistry teacher named Jennifer Hires. She was hard, very, very hard, but fair, and she didn't accept anything other than the best you could give her. I didn't like it so much when I was that age, but now looking back, it was one of the most influential people I had early on.
My favorite teacher is Miss Anita because she is very kind and she's very caring of people.
But the one that stands out the most is definitely my high school French teacher. While she did a fantastic job of teaching her content, she also cared about us as people.
So my favorite teacher is Miss Jennifer York. She has helped me through this year in reading, and she's really improved of my behavior and how I act.
The one that I think made the first biggest impact on me was my 4th grade teacher. Her name was Miss Terrelyn, and I was trying to think what was it about her that stood out, because I had a lot of really great teachers, but she was the first one that I think made a personal connection and kind of built relationships. And then when I think about today, the colleagues that I work with, I mean, there are tons of them. When you're in a good environment, in a good building, you can learn from everybody.
So Coach Depp, because he is a good teacher, and he also I always have wanted to play basketball, and he tells me what I can do better and what I can work on. And also Mr. Jeremy, because I want to be a teacher too.
for math, and he's a math teacher, and he does really good at his job.
A teacher that impacted me would be my 8th grade math teacher. She always believed in me, and she always made me feel important. I felt like she was genuinely my friend.
Coach Depp is probably my favorite teacher because he always gives me advice and helps me, and if I'm like sad or anything, when my grades are down and he notices, he will help me and he'll talk to me and he'll help me and try and get it up. And also Miss Tina. Miss Tina is always helping me with counseling, and she's always been there for me, and I've known her all my life, and she's a really great teacher, and I love them both very much.
The teacher that impacted me the most would be Miss Frankie Wilson, because she was tough on us, but she treated us like her own kids, not just her students.
But there were one in particular teacher, her name was Miss Becky Grissom, and she was in our elementary school in 3rd grade. And of course, I struggled to learn how to read and a lot of things when I was a younger kid. And Miss Grissom setting me down and looking into my eyes and saying, "You can do this. You can read." And I'll never forget the feeling that I had that day, that when she looked into my eyes and I could see that she cared. I could see that she was interested in who I was and where I come from, and she wanted me to be successful.
My favorite teacher is Miss Tanda because she was so nice to me and she was so nice to her other students, and she was just my favorite teacher in the 2nd grade. My favorite teacher is Miss Alexis because she's nice and she's a wonderful teacher.
As a person who struggled with anxiety going through school, I had some teachers to go above and beyond to be able to help me get through my struggles and help me to be able to actually pass my classes.
So Miss Sarah Butler is my favorite teacher because she encourages me and she is just so nice. Miss Tanya is my favorite teacher because she's taught me how to do multiplication and help me read better.
Probably the most special was my kindergarten teacher, because as long as I can remember, understanding like what do you want to be when you grow up, I have always wanted to be a kindergarten teacher. So I guess inspiration from her, just memories from her class, the singing and just all the activities we did, I can contribute to my kindergarten teacher probably being the best inspiration.
My favorite teacher was Miss Tanda Pippin, and the reason I liked her because she helped me read and she's nice. I really didn't have a favorite teacher, and I don't think I will because I like all the teachers. All of them have taught me a lot of things. I've liked all my teachers that I've had.
Raymond Bentley. Had him as an 8th grade teacher in science, and then later on he came to the high school. A very kind-hearted man, focused on the student. He was a softball coach and basketball coach for me in high school, and I really appreciated his compassion and the personal interest that he took with the students that he had. I would say Raymond Bentley had the most impact on my life as a teacher and a fellow colleague as well.
I'm going to have to say Mr. Bentley. Mr. Bentley cared about the students as a whole. He cared about how they done in school. He cared about if you had issues, he would help you with them. He just cared about the students. So I think he would be my favorite, and my next favorite is going to be Miss Brown, because Miss Barbara Brown, because I loved her as the algebra teacher.
I've had several teachers in Jackson County schools, of course, that have had an impact on my life. One that really stands out is a 4th grade teacher, Miss Patsy Mahani. The main thing is because she read out loud to us, even as 4th graders, just about every day. I remember, Some Pig from Charlotte's Web, and thinking that I wanted to find a way to make my hair stand straight out like Pippi Longstocking, and I just enjoyed that so much, and just being able to be creative in that class and come up with clubs, and I'm going to start a business, and her supporting that just like it was real. So I appreciate that, and part of the reason why I wanted to go into education and be a teacher. I also had a couple of good cheer coaches in high school, Miss Deb and Miss Nancy Chaffin, that pretty much made me walk a straight line if I still wanted to do this. And that was good for me, and to know where the boundaries were, to be able to do the things that I enjoyed and wanted to do, and I needed that in my life at that time. Just feel like I need to give a shout out to all of the teachers that I had in school that are still teaching here today. So thank you all as well. Thank you.
The person who influenced my life probably more than any other single individual as a teacher was not what we traditionally call a licensed teacher, but rather my great-grandmother's housekeeper, Molly Cason, because she taught me to read. And as anybody who knows me knows, I love reading, but I specifically remember being 3 years old, pulling a big metal chair out in the middle of the yard so we could watch traffic go by, and sitting in her lap with an entire set of first-grade readers. I remember that I learned how to read. And because I could read, and read efficiently and effectively, I learned to love to read. I still love to read. I still read every day for my job and for pleasure. And that lady, even though she had no formal training, was the quote-unquote teacher who most impacted my life.
My first grade teacher, her name was Miss Smith. She was tall and thin, the kind of lady that always goes and has her hair done at the beauty shop every week. And she was very rigid and yet caring and loving. And one of the memories that I have of her was that every Friday she pulled each and every child in the classroom, the first grade classroom, one at a time up to her desk. And you would sit at the end of her desk and she would give you feedback. She'd tell you something that week that you did a really good job with. Maybe it's academic, or maybe it was a social skill, and something that you need to improve on. Not everybody got a trophy, not everybody's news was good, and at the end of it, she had a silver tray that was on the end of her desk, and you got to get a piece of candy as you were listening and talking to her, but it was your special time with her. I learned a lot. She taught me how to read.
So I would like to talk about Mrs. Barbara Williams. She was my 5th grade teacher at Leach Elementary in Anderson, Indiana, and she made a huge impact on my life. She was a teacher that recognized that I lacked confidence and that I didn't really believe that I could accomplish my goals. And she took a special interest in me, and through that process I began to gain confidence and believe that I could accomplish things. She continued to follow me throughout my life. I visited her so much so that she drove from Indiana to Tennessee and came to Dotson Branch School and visited me in my classroom. I am a teacher today because of Miss Barbara Williams. There are 2 other teachers that impacted my life, not as a student, but as a fellow teacher, and that's Miss Judy Bobby and Miss Mar Temples. And when I became a teacher at Dotson Branch School, it was tough that first year. So through the tears, through the heartaches, through the parent complaints, Miss Judy Bobby was always there to pick me up, encourage me, give me ideas of what to try to do different. And Miss Mar was the person that would just tell you straight up, hey, you need to think about this. This is what you need to work on. And she was also the person that encouraged me to work on my master's and get it in leadership. She felt like I had potential. So I feel like without Miss Mar or Miss Judy, I wouldn't be sitting here today as a district leader.
I had a teacher that affected me in high school and middle school also. He moved pretty well when we moved over to the high school. His name's Mr. Johnny Lane. He was our computer class teacher, which computers was new then. He kind of got us all interested and started a computer club, and he pretty well kept us involved to keep us out of trouble. If it wasn't for him, there's no telling what I'd have got into. He kind of led me to go to college and try to be all that I could be. And I believe every time I see him out, he's always interested in how I'm doing still, and really good guy.
I would say that, especially whenever I think back to college days, I mean not college days, but high school days, Kent Shepard really sticks out in my mind. He was always very kind, expect you to do, do what you were supposed to do. Always kept you accountable, but it's things like that that kind of stick out in your mind whenever you think back to those days.